Okay, guys, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, where I've lived for a long time. And yeah, I'm a Jew, I'm a Levite, and I probably get a lot of you just leave, as if the prophets and the apostles and Yeshua were not Jews. But, what am I going to do, A lot of people say that Yeshua changed his religion to churchianity or something. It's comical, That's like a skit that a comedian would put on. So anyway, today we're going to cover the fighting in Syria, which has gotten huge, and the Syrian government is two-faced liars, and they're in on it, and they're trying to genocide a race of people called the Druze. I mean, it's insane. It's like Adolf Hitler, So we're going to get into that, and Israel's involved with the fighting. So far, it's been in the air with our jets, but it looks like we're going to have to go in on the ground, and we need to talk about that. Is Israel going to get more land back? Is Damascus going to be a ruinous heap? Is that what this is? What's Turkey going to say? What's Trump going to say? Netanyahu is just about facing a vote of no confidence. Sometime this week he will be. One political party, the United Torah Judaism, left this coalition over the draft, and their other ultra-Orthodox religious party, Shas, said they're going to be getting out this week. Today's Wednesday, so there's not much left. I mean, pretty much today or tomorrow or Friday morning or something, That's going to bring his seat count down to 50, I think, or thereabouts. And he needs 61 to be in a coalition. And that means he's going to seek to join other parties. We'll get into all this and how that's going to affect things, if and how and whatever's going on. And then Trump and his toothless sanction threat against Russia and Iran, both supposedly stopping it around the same time, the end of August or September 1st or something. I can tell you right now, Putin and Iran aren't very impressed. Okay? All it's going to do is get them to want to get rid of America more. They're not going to you think they're going to let Trump tell them what to do by saying, you don't do this, I'm going to give you sanctions. Well, with sanctions, Trump gets to dish it out and not get anything back in return. Like a war, you got to pay a price. With sanctions, he doesn't pay a price. His staff drafts up a letter, under executive order, and boom, you got sanctions. It's nothing. They're not going to let him run the world that way. He's putting sanctions on too many people all at the same time. This is going to accelerate, or maybe not accelerate it. That's not fair. It's got its time with God. It's going to, bring about the daughter of Babylon downfall. They're not going to put up with this. Basically, what Trump is saying, anytime I want you to stop doing something or start doing something, and you don't do it, I'm going to hit you with sanctions. I'm the hammer of the whole earth. I'm the big kahuna, not you. Come on. You guys don't hear that in the media, so you don't think that way. Look at Netanyahu for a minute. Let me tell you how I look at Netanyahu and why the Israelis don't. Is they're blinded, but we'll unblind them again today. What's going on? Every day we're attacking in Lebanon, right? To stop the Hezbollah from regrouping and continuing attacks on us again, right? We're fighting actively in Gaza every day, and we're losing soldiers a few times a week. Very small amount, but it's horrible. Okay? Now we're fighting in Syria, and we have troops in Syria for a long time, in southwest Syria, protecting the Druze with tanks and everything else, all the way about 10 miles or 10 kilometers, I forget, probably 10 kilometers away from Damascus. Could be miles. I think it's kilometers. And we get attacked by Yemen fairly often with missiles and drones. Yesterday was a drone. And Iran caused a lot of devastation in Israel with their missiles and keeps hovering threats over us. Iraq is quiet with us right now, but that'll change. And Bible prophecy tells us we're going to have trouble with Saudi Arabia and Jordan. And Lebanon, of course, we know that. And Egypt got over 100,000 soldiers on our border. We'll have trouble with them too, I think. Now, in the middle of all this, to keep his coalition intact, Netanyahu has tried to exempt the ultra-Orthodox from being involved in the draft. He couldn't do that legally, so he tried to change, and other reasons too. He tried to weaken the court system and get rid of the Attorney General, and he's still trying to get rid of the Attorney General. So the bill got through, and he has to draft the ultra-Orthodox. There's no reason for them not to be drafted. So they got draft notices sent out in the thousands, and the vast majority of them don't show up for the draft. And he doesn't do anything. So he's basically saying, we'll send you a draft notice, and if you show up, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. That's not how it works with the regular citizens, of course. You don't show up, you're going to hear about it. Okay. So the Attorney General for months has been telling them, months, he has to enforce the draft. He has to put sanctions on these ultra-Orthodox of some sort if they don't go in the draft and refuses to do it. So instead of complying with the Supreme Court and the Attorney General, instead he tries to weaken the court and fire the Attorney General. And the people in Israel think this is a good leader, and they're afraid to change their leader in times of war because the enemy may see it as a sign of weakness. Oh my gosh. This is what this country's like. With all this fighting going on, he doesn't want to draft the ultra-Orthodox because he has to stay in office, because he's got 3 pending active criminal cases in the courts, and he doesn't want these trials completing or concluding because he's afraid he'll get convicted. If he gets convicted, he's finished with his political career, and he's going to likely wind up in jail. So because the Israelis have a thought process that runs along the line of, we don't want to change the leader during a war, he just keeps us in war. And wants all the non-ultra-Orthodox people's kids to go in the military, but not the ultra-Orthodox. They're super Jews. Or something like that. I don't know what he's thinking. Naftali Bennett got Netanyahu out of office a few years ago, and he ran as prime minister. He was prime minister for a little while. And let me tell you, there were some nice changes in the government when he was there, because the ultra-Orthodox didn't have their power. The ultra-Orthodox suppressed and put a bad yoke on all the people of Israel other than them. And the people that are in their belief system are in a terrible bondage. So one of the best things in the world that could happen to Israel is the ultra-Orthodox break from the government. But they must have a backup plan. They're probably thinking of going with another group of people to try to take the government over away from Netanyahu. So if Netanyahu wants to stay in power, he's running out of groups to support. So if he I'll tell you why, if he goes to the left-wing oriented people, or even those that are kind of even centrist, the right-wing parties, which are Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, who also have a combination of about 15 seats, give or take. It varies from month to month, not by a lot. They'll pull out on him. Could the ultra-Orthodox and Smotrich and Ben-Gvir get together and dump Netanyahu? Well, of course they could. It's theoretical, but they want the ultra-Orthodox drafted. They're not ultra-Orthodox. They're Orthodox. So what does that mean? They observe all the holidays that the rabbis tell them to observe, some of which are not in the Bible. And they wear tzitz and kippur and go to synagogue, and they'll wear running shoes, and kippur and go to synagogue, and they'll wear running shoes, and kippur and go to synagogue, and they'll wear running shoes. What's going on here? Let's see. Gotta reverse that. Okay. This is what I believe happened. The idiot Android thing wants me to update, and I don't want to because I did that on the tablet, and I can't get the live streams to work on that right now until they fix the bug. So I'm not updating. So what they do to punish you is while you're doing a live stream, they pop the screen up, and then it stops it from working. But I think we're back. All right. Everything okay now? It probably won't happen again, but I'll keep looking for it. Terrible thing they do. I had the same problem with the tablet. Let me keep going. It's to work on that right now until they fix the bug. Yeah, I think we're good. Sorry about that. It's just, that wasn't sabotage or anything. It's just the stupidity of these things. Okay, being a Bible-believing site, I want to do some praise and we'll get going. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. One of the things I want to tell you that the unclean spirits are doing now to those of us doing spiritual warfare, or that will try to, is give you mild little distractions from your government, your national government, your local government, your neighbors, people you work with, people you circulate with, or people, businesses you do commerce with, anything they can to harass you and distract you. Okay? Your only remedy, and I see it, ask the Lord for the relief for sure. Say it says nothing shall by any means harm you, and they're trying to make my life miserable. And ask the Lord to punish them as he sees fit. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. But also go back and hit them harder. Harder. A lot harder. So Satan is trainable like a wild animal. Okay? You put a fence up with a heavy electricity in it, and the wolf or the coyote or the panther or whatever goes and wants to push the fence down and touches it and gets a severe electrical shock, well, he may try it again and again, but there's going to come a point in time when that idiot animal's going to learn not to touch that fence. It's like Pavlov, with the dogs. You take an animal, you put him in a cage. You could take a panther or a lion or something like that and put him in a cage and wait till he's hungry. And every time he presses a lever, he gets a little hamburger comes out, and he eats the hamburger. Well, a lion could eat 30 pounds of hamburgers, right? So he figures out eventually, presses the bar and he gets a hamburger. He'll sit there and press the bar and fill up. Okay? It's the same thing. You touch the fence and you get a shock. Now, you got to train Satan and the unclean spirits like a beast. Okay? Because that's what they are. They're like a beast. Like Nebuchadnezzar, when his nails grew and his hair grew and he ran around in the woods or in the fields for those years. Satan's not like that, literally, but he's a beast. His attributes are beast-like. Okay? Like a dragon. So what do? With him and his unclean spirits, you treat them like animals. They're not angels anymore. They're not humans. They're not gods. They're like dogs, lousy dogs, or pigs or something. But they're more predatory beasts. So every time they do something you don't like, you come back and you hit them, but you don't hit them a little. You hit them massively, massively. And it's a contest to see who gives up first. And they will fail. They may not give up. They'll just fail trying, okay? But I think they'll give up. When he took Yeshua and he tempted him, it says after that, and he left Yeshua for a spell. He said, I can't get anywhere with this guy, and he left. Now, Yeshua wasn't giving it back to him. He was just using the word of God. But we give it back to him heavily. And you got to keep it up. You got to keep going, and you got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and not worry, not have fear, and you got to make up your mind you're not going to stop. You're going to get the victory, and God is with you. Who could be against you? And you're just going to pound and pound and pound and pound, and you will win. When you fight in the spirit, you win. When you fight in the flesh, maybe, probably not. Don't do it in the flesh, you do it in the spirit. So Trump and his sanctions on Russia and Iran, I think he's the end of August or I don't know, September 1 or something like that. He's going to put heavy sanctions on Russia if there's no ceasefire with Ukraine, and if Iran doesn't sign some sort of nuclear treaty with, I assume, America. He's going to have Europe and America put sanctions on Iran. Is this going to work? Sheer failure. Never going to work. Has Trump gotten anywhere with the sanctions before? No. You'd think he'd give up on this stuff already, but he's a coward. He doesn't want to fight. Trump still thinks He's going to get the respect of the nations without waging war. He doesn't understand, Teddy Roosevelt said, walk softly and carry a big stick. Now, Teddy Roosevelt would take that stick and crack him upside the head. Trump's idea is to carry 5 big sticks and walk loud, but not do anything. Having some planes drop bombs on underground facilities by hitting the entrances and the air ducts is pretty darn far away from waging war to me. Pretty far. And he's like that old comedian, Rodney Dangerfield. You know, I can't get no respect. Trump can't get no respect. Look what the Syrians did to Trump. Giuliani, that Al-Qaeda ISIS guy with a new paint job. Oh, yes, Mr. Trump. Oh, yes, Mr. Trump. I love you, Mr. Trump. You know, Trump took all the sanctions away from him, off of Syria. Within a week, about a week later, you know, Giuliani was waiting for the stuff to go through, get put on paper and actually get put into action so the sanctions were lifted. Probably bank accounts opened up and stuff, right? When he saw it really happen, then they started doing another genocide, this time heavily focused against the Druze. But they also got Christians in the last couple of days. They took out a Christian church, looted it and whatever. And they're also still getting Alawites and other kinds of Muslims. The only Muslim these idiots tolerate are Sunni jihadist-oriented Muslims. Everybody else you kill. So the Druze are protesting in Lebanon, they're protesting in Israel. I'm not so sure Netanyahu's fighting because of the protests, but probably that's a part of it. And he's bombing Syrian military positions. Now, the Syrian government, those liars, and Giuliani is extremely transactional. In other words, a 24/7 liar. He's saying it's militant groups fighting against the Druze, and he's sending the Syrian army under him to stop the fighting and protect it. But that's not what happened. The Syrian army showed up to help the militants persecute forcefully the Druze with tanks, with armored vehicles. And he's also been using drones, government drones, to help these militants. He's doing it. There was an armored column of tanks going to the city where this was mostly focused on. Now it's spread to a second city. Something like 200 dead, I think, yesterday, and lots of wounded. So while this armored column of tanks and stuff was headed there, Israel jets attacked them and made them turn around and leave, go away. Jews fighters are coming from all over. They snuck in from Israel. Well, they broke a fence down by the Golan Heights and came in from Lebanon, and they came in from Israel. And to help their brothers in Syria fight. And this doesn't help the Israeli government. So they got several dozen of them back in Israel. This just makes it hard for the government. It doesn't help Israel. The soldiers don't need that. The Jews have been confiscating from the Syrian government big trucks and other kinds of military vehicles. It's a real legitimate mess. Giuliani threatened us yesterday, said that under international law he has the right to do what he needs to do to defend his country against us. And I believe he's probably correct with that, but what's he going to do? No Air Force, no Navy, no serious missiles, no radar. He's pretty defenseless. He may try to take action against us. It'll be a mistake. He could light up a war. We're being told it's likely we're going to have to push in on the ground to protect the Jews. Now, this thing to me with protecting the Jews in Syria is unprecedented, except we did it before and we grabbed some land. Now, this is not in the area of southwestern Lebanon where we're protecting the Jews. This is some different city, I believe, two cities, and Netanyahu may be interested in grabbing some land. Or keeping the Jews in Israel happy. The Jews are basically Quran readers. So you could say they're a spin-off of Mohammedanism. And why we're going around protecting them. In another country, I could absolutely see protecting them in Israel, but protecting them in another country? Have you ever seen Netanyahu go and protect Jews in another country? No, I haven't. So there's something in this for Netanyahu, or he wouldn't be doing it. I don't know what's in it for him yet. Does he want to grab Syria? Nah. What is he going to do with Syria? He's going to have millions of people to feed, medical problems. Trump's sitting on the oil with his military bases. Trump will never let Netanyahu have the oil. He'll say, now, Benji, you understand oil is not for Jews. Satan doesn't want any Jews having oil. It always goes to the Muslims, his chosen people. Except for America. Can Giuliani get help from anybody? Who are the likely suspects? Well, Jordan ain't gonna do nothing. Saudi won't do nothing. Yemen won't do anything. Saudi and Jordan might help him with money or something like that, but he raised $20 billion. And after the sanctions were lifted, I think a lot of that money came in. Then he started showing his ugliness again with genocide. And will the people giving him the money renege and stop giving him the money because of his genocide? Oh, I doubt it. Is Trump stepping in and saying, I'm going to put the sanctions back unless you stop the genocide? Nothing open about that. He may be doing it quietly. Trump made himself look like a jerk. This happened with Putin. He said, well, Putin talks nice with me and everything, and then you hang up and he starts bombing again. Trump finally figured that out. When is he going to figure out that Iran is playing him for a chump? You know, what Trump's got to figure out that he's not figuring out is that he's coming across as a weak leader. Very weak leader, afraid of war. And he pushes hard against people at the same time. So they're interpreting him as a bluff, as an empty threat, as a cloud without rain. And they're not listening to him. And we know from Bible prophecy, Jeremiah 50 and 51, and Isaiah 47, I think it is, or is it? Yeah, I think it's Isaiah 47. They're going to attack America. And that's in Revelation 18, too. Let me check the verse on that where, if it really is Isaiah 47. Oh, my icons moved around. No, I've got to move them back. Okay, here they are. Jeremiah, I didn't want to be there. I want to be in Isaiah. No, we're still doing good on the broadcast. It is Isaiah 47. Let me read it. It pertains to America. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. That would be something you would do for mourning, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Well, this may change the meaning. Maybe he's saying, you're not really in charge of America anymore. You don't have a throne. Now go sit in the dirt. You're busted up poor. It's hard to figure out exactly what this means. They throw dirt on themselves when they mourn in the Middle East, some places. So sitting in the dirt here is not mourning. It's because there's no throne anymore. Take the millstone, and that could be what they're mourning over. That could be it too. So it could be both. Take the millstone and grind meal. Now, that's not a sign of prosperity. Uncover thy locks, the hair, make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea. That could be kind of have a transactional meaning, because then it goes on to say, thy shame shall be seen. It sounds quite transactional. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Vengeance could be the day of vengeance, but I think not. I think it's before. Because there has to be nations to attack the daughter of Babylon, and if it's after Jeremiah 30:11, well, then who's going to be around to attack, So then comes the question of the time frames. I don't know. As for our Redeemer, Jehovah of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. Well, the lady is Columbia. District of Columbia is the capital of America. If you want to get the drift of Columbia, it's the Columbia Motion Pictures icon, which is the Statue of Liberty, which is the woman on the roof of the Capitol building. There you have it. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Those were the people that lived in Babylon. It's talking of America here. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them unto thy hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient thou very heavily laid thy yoke. I think this was against the American Indians, which I believe are a lost tribe. That's how I interpret this Jeremiah 47, verse 6. Verse 7, and thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever. See that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly. That saith in thy heart, I am and none else beside me. Well, that's how Trump operates. He's the king of the world. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee. Now you got to pay attention. It says, in a moment, in one day. Same that you get in Revelation 18. The loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. That's how they run the country, how they run business, how they run the world, with witchcraft. It says, in a moment, in one day. I'll go through that in Revelation 18 with you in a minute. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Well, that's Trump. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from where it riseth. It's going to come and they're not going to see it coming. And mischief, that's evil, shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly. Again, suddenly, in a moment, in a day, in an hour, suddenly, desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. What could this desolation be? Let's check the words. 7722, Strong's number. What is it mean in English? Shoah, that's the Holocaust word. The Shoah is the Holocaust. To rush over, a tempest, by implication, devastation, desolate, destroy, destruction, storm, wastedness. Thou shalt not, okay. Therefore, evil shall come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall, the riseth and all that word, it's actually one word in Hebrew. Shachar. It's Strong's number 7837. It kind of means early, light, morning, when it rises. And then again, mischief or evil shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly. The word for suddenly is 6597. Now I'm in verse 12. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries. But that's how they do it. But they're not doing that anymore for some salad of a reason. Wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. He's making fun of them. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly procrastinators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before. So it says, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. That Utah fire that spread into Colorado, not the Grand Canyon fire, the other one, it's up to 30,000 acres now. There's so many fires. If you read my Telegram, a lot of them get posted there. From the power, there's a ton of fires in Canada, Alaska, all the way down into America. It's got fires, and the fires are mostly on the west. The east just had flooding. New York, the Pennsylvania Turnpike got flooded out. The subway system in New York got flooded out. The streets in New York City had cars washing with floods washing down the street. I never saw that in New York. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before. Thus shall they be unto thee whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. Nobody's saving anybody in the daughter of Babylon. Now, when you go to Revelation 18, you see it. I'll find it for you. Verse 1, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every unclean, I missed something, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And that's the demons are all hanging out in America. They are. They're hanging out in Israel too. Tons of them here. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, it's America, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her lawlessness. Reward her even as she rewarded you, double unto her, double according to her works in the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am not a widow, and shall see no sorrow. That's America. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day. The plagues are not going to be dragged out. They're coming in one day. Death and mourning. mourning. These plagues are going to cause death, and it results in mourning and famine. And she, fires, of course, famine, real good. And she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. The fires are huge now, and they're growing and growing and growing. Evacuations, destruction, acres getting burned, and there's new ones popping up every day. Let me go through the scriptures for you in Jeremiah 50:51 on the fires. I've got them. I got to find them in my notes, and that's not so easy, but I'll get them. Just give me a moment. And there's people that are ignoring this. They just fail to believe it. Closed on me. It's like that. Where am I now? I gotta go find it. All right. The screen is oversensitive. And remember Jeremiah 51:24. The daughter of Babylon is going to do evil in our sight here in Israel. I don't know what that was. Weird. Remember Amos 9:15 says we'll never leave the land again. Oh, I lost it. I am so no more Apple products. They're all no good. I'll get there, or I'll look it up if I can't find it. The note thing that you get with Apple, here it is. Anyway, it's Jeremiah 50:32. It keeps closing. I hate this thing. I hate it. Every time this thing's closing, I'm going to start tossing Apple. As time goes on, they make worse and worse devices, and they raise the prices. I used to like these things, but Jeremiah 50:32 should do it. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, those are the Satan bots, and none shall raise them up. And I will kindle a fire. He, Jehovah, will kindle a fire. It really just says kindle. Kindle fire in his cities. Now, we saw on my telegram a big fire, a good-sized fire broke out in a city yesterday, so that's beginning, I think. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, plural, and it shall burn up or devour all round about him. So the preppers really gonna miss the boat on this one. All right, let me check my live stream here. I live in Israel. Israel's the safest country in the world for believers. It just doesn't look that way, but it is. Okay. Let's get back into the news stuff, because there's a lot of other stuff we didn't get into yet. U.S. reduced their military presence in the Middle East. One of the aircraft carriers left, and America had 5 ships that could take down missiles here, and 4 of them were gone. The Central Oregon fire is at 30,000 acres. Oh, it's the Oregon fire at 30,000 acres, not Utah, I'm sorry. Russian volcano, you gotta listen to this, grows what they call devil horns and spits out a 1,000-mile long river of smoke. That's what one of the birth pangs in Mark 13 is, columns of smoke, which is volcanoes, 1,000-mile long. Put it up on my telegram. So the Carl Vinson aircraft carrier was the one that left. It's in the Indian Ocean yesterday. So the United Torah Judaism Party left the coalition. Shas is going to leave this week. That's going to bring them down to 50 votes or so. And we'll see if somebody moves for a vote of no confidence. I expect somebody will. And we'll see what happens. This could turn Trump against Israel. I don't know if it'll happen. And if it does, I don't know who would get in. But it could be somebody who's not going to kowtow to Trump. And then the hatred between Trump and Israel will set in. I put plenty of pictures up on my Telegram about Giuliani, the head of Syria these days, how his military is participating in the genocide against the Druze and the Christians and the Alawites and the Shiite Muslims and stuff like that. Large military forces from Giuliani, the guy running Syria, are moving from northern Syria to this contentious city called Sweda, S-W-E-D-A. And that could cause a big problem. And Israel seems to be going into this deeper and deeper. He might be trying to push it to see how far Israel will go. I don't see Russia coming in to help Syria. Yes, Syria can say to Russia, you could have your bases back at, on the Mediterranean and the air base near it by Latakia, but Latakia right now has bad fires, but anyway, you could have the base back. All you got to do is help us by keeping Israel out. Use your planes and ground-to-air defenses to keep Israel from attacking us. Well, the first problem Putin's going to have is he's not that stupid. He knows how to play Trump for a sucker, and he also knows Trump's sanctions are a joke. He has no fear of Trump. Nobody does. Trump's a punk. He doesn't do nothing. They all know he's not going to do anything. They're not worried about him. So they're not worried about him. I don't know. Anyway, enough on Trump. Trump started out good, but he doesn't deliver. He barks and he doesn't bite, and it's the secret's out. So we'll check, daily on this as to what's going on. I'll be updating it. If we have emergency situations, well, I update Telegram all during the day and night, and I'll do emergency live streams if something big happens in Syria, so you might want to subscribe to get notice. If the regime changes away from Netanyahu, who I think is the worst leader Israel ever had, worse than King Saul, the new leader would likely come from the military and would likely see that Netanyahu is dragging the war out and not having any criminal cases to duck. He's going to just go in and persecute this war, or prosecute the war, whatever, prosecute it fast and hard. Like we did with Hezbollah, it was very short. This thing with Hamas, which isn't anywhere near as powerful as Hezbollah, by the way, and they don't have a country as large as Lebanon to hide in. So taking down Lebanon so fast was much, much harder than taking down Gaza. He's dragging it out. I don't think anybody's going to get those hostages out, and they know that. So you just end them. Trump still wants to put the gambling resorts up in Gaza. And now there's some sort of deal made with Indonesia, or a pending deal, or a possible deal. Where India would take in the Gazans. Not India, Indonesia. That's a Muslim majority country, and they may very well do it. And then Trump wants to put the resorts up over there. For him and his family and his friends, they plan on making billions. They won't. It was a prophetic time clock, but this could be the last straw with Jehovah for America. You give Israel the weapons, you work with a lousy leader that's corruptible by America called Netanyahu, and you have them and their soldiers clean up Gaza, and then you profit from it and you don't give it back to Israel, which had it and gave it up at the insistence and prodding and forcing of America, gave it to them, and all they got back was they turned it into a military base to attack Israel night and day. And America did that, and now America wants to keep it. And that might be it for the Lord. This thing may have gone far enough, and that's the end of it, of America. I know time is really short by the way I was interpreting the Shana, but I don't know what's going on. I know we're not going to know the day or the hour, so we're not going to get that good at it. But, I mean, I'm looking at the fires and I'm saying, wow, it looks like this is really happening. And then I say, could it really be happening? We've waited so long. Is this really it? I mean, is it really happening? You know, I have to I'm like, is it, I'm like, so, like, almost like I can't believe it's actually going to happen. I can, but it's like I can't. I say, no, it's not going to happen. But I mean, it looks like it's going to happen. And things may happen very fast, many events at the same time to totally confuse the nations and stuff like that. The dollar is very weak. I can't remember the being this weak. It's yesterday, I think the dollar bought 3.36 shekels. It was buying usually for some years around 3.7. Occasionally it went to 4.0, and occasionally it went to 3.6, or even, but it was around 3.7 on average, and now it's 3.36. The dollar's weak. Because I checked it against other currency, it's not that the shekel is strong. So if you buy things in dollars from America, you don't have to give up that many shekels to get it. But the problem for me is most of my offerings come in dollars. not shekels. So, I don't get anybody giving me money, from Israel. I don't have a single person in Israel giving me money. So, that's a problem. So why is the live stream down today? Let's see how many people are there. 40. It's not down that far. I think there's about 12 that should be receiving salad. And I sort of set up an auto salad administrator in the chat. Some of you know what I mean. Of course, there's a lot of them coming here to learn what we're up to. So we'll make that rather difficult for them. The people in Syria have been getting our spiritual warfare, but not the Jews, the other ones, the government ones. Very interesting. And also not the militia ones, just the government. Very interesting. And the government is obviously making a big mistake with what they're doing with Israel. They can't possibly defend against Israel. So would Russia come over here in exchange for getting their old bases back and protect Syria from Israel? First of all, Giuliani's got to ask them to do that. Secondly, combine Russia going back there with bases to protect Giuliani, and Giuliani doing genocide, Trump would probably put the sanctions back in place. So it's rather a slight chance that Giuliani would bring Russia back. And he doesn't trust Russia because they're allies with Iran, who would love to get rid of him and put Bashar Assad back. So that doesn't seem likely. China coming over there, why would they? No motive. Oil, Trump's sitting on the oil in Syria with his own military. So they have to take the military out, and that would be a massive fight. And for what? He's got Iran for that. He doesn't need Syria for that. So they're not coming. Will they give him weapons? Yeah, they'll give him weapons. Is there anyone else that's going to help Syria? No, I don't think so. Turkey, maybe. Turkey's got to watch what he does, or he ain't getting no F-35s out of America. Turkey might, but I don't think so. Turkey doesn't have the horsepower to fight us like Russia could. But Russia's so weak now from Ukraine, I'm not even sure Russia could fight us if they wanted to fight us. And I'm reasonably sure Russia doesn't want to have a fight with Israel. Russia might enjoy getting back in Syria, but the idea would be to set up a pro-Iranian Syria, not an anti-Iranian, pro-America Syria, which is what is there now. Then other countries giving money to Syria would dry up, especially if he gets friendly with Russia and gives Russia his military bases back in Syria. European Union and NATO detest Russia right now. they see Russia as, a threat to them, and now this guy Giuliani makes friends with Russia. They're not giving him any money. So nobody's going to help this guy. So why is this guy sitting there and saying, well, I could defend against Israel. I got the right under international law. What's he, nuts? Does he know something we don't know? I can't imagine China going over there or Russia. I don't see it. I can't imagine anybody else. I have no idea who anybody else would be. I mean, Jordan, there's nobody. Iraq is afraid of them. If anything, Iraq will go over there and fight them. The real risk here is not somebody coming in and helping Syria. The real risk is us weakening Syria. Then Trump telling us, "Oh, you can't conquer Syria. You're a bunch of Jews. Satan don't want that." And then Iraq and Iran move into Syria and take it over. That's really bad for us. Would Trump do anything to stop that? I think the only thing that's going to make Trump maybe fight is if America got hit. But even then, it says when America gets attacked, the leader of America gives his hand. That means he surrenders. That's what you see the president do. Is that President Trump? Or possibly Trump gets assassinated and it's another person. Don't know. I lean towards the assassination possibility, and that would bring us to Vance, who we know precious little about. But I could see Trump surrendering. Got nothing but hot air from this Trump. Just like with Biden, just like with Obama. Actually, Obama was more aggressive. Trump's scared to death. If Netanyahu goes, which could happen this week, the relationship with America would probably go. I've been saying this for years. Having America as no friend of Israel, biblically and spiritually, is one of the best things that could ever happen to Israel. Naftali Bennett formed a new political party about 2 weeks ago. So Naftali Bennett may actually step in and get it. And anybody that we get in this election process is going to be an S-spot. He's better than Netanyahu, but not by much. But at least we'll get the ultra-Orthodox out of the picture. Unless they side with him, and then it might be worse than Netanyahu. See, the ultra-Orthodox aren't going to give up. So they're going to try to form, if they're pulling away from Netanyahu, they're not so stupid. They're going to want to be in another coalition of corruption to get themselves out of the draft. Now, with all these wars going on, is it going to be easy or even possible for a coalition to form that's going to let the ultra-Orthodox off the draft when it's already been passed into law? Doesn't look highly likely. Doesn't look like it. So where's that take us? I don't know yet. Let's just watch and see what happens. I don't think there's another candidate out there that's as bad as Netanyahu. I don't think they could get anyone up. The only one that might be making some sense is Moshe Feiglin, and he's not even running anymore. Netanyahu got him driven out of politics. He was the only one that had his head screwed on somewhat straight. But he ain't in the picture. If Ben Gvir and Smotrich get in, they're going to persecute Messianics. Maybe, maybe not. It's the ultra-Orthodox that drive this persecution, so they may not. I don't know. Netanyahu is also going to try to find a new coalition to recover and stay in power. He's not. It's getting too cold. Not going to just throw in. Okay, let's try for some spiritual warfare. So remember what Satan and the unclean spirits will throw at you are pawns, throwaways. People that could be a neighbor or friend, say insignificant to Satan, just throw them at you to try to get you distracted. You know, that's what he's doing with me. Ignore it. Oh, go after it, do a toss, and then forget about it and go back after the mother load, the important stuff to Satan. And what does Satan use to stay in power? Control of the governments, control of the big corporations, you know, controlling the stock markets, the price of commodities, fuel, and religious organizations. And that's not for here, so I'm going to be getting together with some people, not here, someplace else. And we're going to take care of the religiosity tossing. So where should we go today? Let's start with the home base where you all will be living soon. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, I command you unclean spirits to depart from any and all people in Israel that tell lies in the name of God or religion to the people in Israel, or anyone that tries to deceive the people in Israel or lead them astray in matters of faith and God and Messiah. and anyone that persecutes people for believing in Yeshua the Messiah, or has done so in the past. I command you, unclean spirits, to depart from all these people immediately, never return to them again, and come out from every person that lives in the same house as them now, immediately, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. I further command you, unclean spirits, to not appear to these people, guide these people, lead them, direct them, have communication with them, help them, assist them, give them information or guiding or leading or directing or rewarding them or threatening them, using any means at your disposal, including people, unclean spirits, or anything else. And these commands are set in place now for 5 years continuously. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And you can agree with me. I command you, unclean spirits, I bind you, unclean spirits, to cease and desist any efforts to control the government of Israel, the military of Israel, any corporations in Israel, any branch of the government in Israel, the whole government of Israel. You shall not do anything to control, guide, lead, direct, reward, punish, or threaten any aspect of the government or any part of the government of Israel, national government and local governments, for the next 5 years continuously. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, all you unclean spirits are bound from doing anything to control or influence the government of Israel. And these commands are set in place irrevocably, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And I further command you, unclean spirits, to depart from any person that's employed by the government of Israel or any of the local governments of Israel shall immediately depart from these people, and no unclean spirit shall go in these people again for 5 years continuously. And the same shall apply to every member, every person who lives in the same house as these people. And these command, and you shall not appear to these people, guide them, lead them, direct them, help them, assist them, lie to them, use them, deceive them, or have anything to do with them or communicate with them for 5 years continuously, beginning now, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. I command all you unclean spirits to stop immediately any problems you are causing or the people that serve you are causing for any true believer anywhere in the world. All these things I bind from continuing. They are loosed, never to return again. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And you all can agree. Okay, what's our target? Let's think. I command you unclean spirits to depart from every person in any militia group in Syria, and depart from any person that's part of the Syrian government that works for them in any way, shape, or form, any local government or national government. Depart from all these people immediately, never return unto them again. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And I command you unclean spirits to not do anything. Now you guys can agree with that. And I command you unclean spirits to cease and desist and not start up again any efforts to control or influence the governments of Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, Turkey, Yemen, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, Gaza, and Lebanon. You shall not do anything to control, run, manipulate, use these governments for any of your purposes for the next 5 years continuously, beginning now, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and any previous efforts you got involved with are hereby cast null and void for all time, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. I command you, unclean spirits, to depart from every person that works for any of these governments of the countries I just named, never to return unto them again, and you all shall not go into any of these people for the next 5 years continuously, beginning now, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, nor shall you give any of these people any advice, guidance, leading, direction, threats, warning, or anything else. You have nothing to do with them, no communication with them for 5 years continuously, beginning now, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. This is to cover new people that could be getting into the government every day to replace others, if they're doing that. I command you, unclean spirits, to depart from every religious leader in Israel in charge of any religious operation. That would include the Muslims, the Druze, the Bedouins, the Messianics, the Jewish synagogues, Jewish yeshivas, Kabbalah teaching organizations, Talmud teaching organizations and people, and the Messianic congregations and so-called Christian denominational churches, including but not limited to Catholic churches. I command you, unclean spirits, to come out from all these people that are employed in a way to promote or help or work in these religious organizations. You shall depart from all these people. That would be like mullahs, pastors, administrators, various religious positions in these organizations. You shall depart from these people immediately, never to return to them again, and come out from all their families as well that live with them for the next 5 years continuously, and you shall not go into any of these people for the next 5 years continuously, nor shall you guide them, lead them, direct them, help them, or assist them, or appeal to them, or communicate with them for the next 5 years continuously, nor shall you go inside any of their buildings that they use for worship or offices or administration, such as churches, Messianic congregation places, and mosques. And you shall not be in any of these places, inside people and not in people. If you're in a person or a beast that's going to go inside one of these facilities, you shall immediately depart from that person before they can go in. They can't go in with you inside. You have to leave them if they're going to go inside. And these commands are set in place irrevocably for the next 5 years continuously. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. I command you, unclean spirits, to depart from every person that works for the government of Lebanon or Hezbollah. the terrorist organization. Depart from all these people immediately, never to return unto them again, and also depart from all the members of their families that they live with immediately. And you shall also for the next 5 years continuously not go in any of these people, nor shall you guide them, lead them, direct them, help them, or assist them, or appear to them, or communicate with them in any way, shape, or form for the next 5 years continuously, beginning now, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. I further command all you unclean spirits to cease and desist bothering or harassing or making trouble for or causing the expenditure of money or causing problems or stealing the peace or the joy of any true believer wherever they are. You shall cease and desist any such activities and never start them again, and anything you did in the past is null and void now for all time into the future. And these commands are set in place now for the next 5 years continuously, and you cannot violate them, and they're irrevocable. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And I pray, my Heavenly Father, that you would pour your shalom peace on all the true believers wherever they are, and activate the gifts in the Spirit of the Spirit in them as needed, and give them peace and joy, and have them come to you as a child, that like a child saying, Father, I need help with this, I need help with this. And the Father, when the child comes meekly and needs help, the Father will give him the help, especially when it involves things that the child can't do himself. And I pray for this and loose this from heaven onto all the true believers immediately. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you can agree with it, and I believe you'll feel it. I bind and make null and void from having any effect negative on any true believer, any work of the devil or the people that serve him. All these works and all these things are cast null and void, in other words, bound from being of any value or negative value for all time. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you could agree with that. I bind all the unclean spirits and those that serve the unclean spirits from doing anything to stop, block, or prevent the true believers from having peace and joy and acquiring money and wealth and freedom, and to live without any oppression from the unclean spirits or those that serve them. This is what I ask of you, my Heavenly Father, in terms of binding and loosing. And I would say you would loose the finances and the joy and the peace and the happiness to come on all the true believers, and bind any works of the unclean spirits and those that serve them to prevent such things from happening. And I ask this graciously, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, for all the true believers. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Now you should start feeling pretty good. See, what I'm doing is setting you free. I don't use those words because the church will always do that. But this is actually setting you free. They just tell you they're setting you free. They don't do this. This is what would really do it, but they don't do it. And I would ask you, my Heavenly Father, that you would loose help and assistance of any kind needed for any true believer anywhere to deal with problems that the evil people and the unclean spirits have created for these people, that you would loose much help and assistance for them as needed to get out from under these issues so they can continue their life in peace and joy and faith. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. You could agree. And I pray also, my Heavenly Father, that you not just loose the shalom peace on the people and the joy and the happiness, but also faith. Lots of faith for the people. Help everybody's faith, all the true believers, that their faith would increase. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And I bind all you unclean spirits from trying to steal any gifts of the Spirit or faith or finances or love or joy or peace from any true believer anywhere in the world. For then all you unclean spirits so bound, and you people serving the unclean spirits so bound, for the next 5 years continuously, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. I command you unclean spirits to depart immediately from any person calling himself a pastor, a Bible teacher, a leader of any sort in America, or calls himself a prophet or apostle or anything like that, an evangelist, calls himself like that. The very instant they begin to intentionally lie to the people about matters relating to the Bible and the Lord and the Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, the very instant they begin this, you unclean spirits shall depart from these people, never to return unto them again. And these commands are set in place for the next 5 years continuously. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. That ought to get a good reaction on Sunday. Let me see what's going on in the live stream. Anybody wants to put up a request in the chat, we'll try to honor it. I have a feeling I'm going to try to open up the kitchen to prepare salad, evening my time. It would be after 12 noon your time. I don't know exactly when, but I'll just try to contact a bunch of you and we'll see if we could get it going, because we got a big list of things that need to be addressed, if you get my drift. Hang on a second, I gotta look at this. I put volcano and earthquake reports up in the telegram this morning. There was so much going on with the fires, the earthquakes, and the volcanoes. I put it all in telegram. It's incredible. Incredible. And people aren't, they don't care. They don't do anything. They don't know. Nobody teaches them right. They just wander around in the dark. Oh, America can't be the daughter of Babylon. No, it's Israel. No. Put all the bad stuff on Israel, all the good stuff on America. Boy, are they confused. Israel ain't a good place now, but it's not. It will be when it hits redemption. Not yet. People in Israel are pretty bad to each other. Pretty bad. And the government holds a nose to the grindstone to the people. It's terrible what they do here. It's just terrible. They have a government here that's rotten like every other government in the countries in the world. It shouldn't be this way. When we run, you're going to not have a mortgage. You're going to have your land for free, no mortgages. You're not going to have property tax, income tax, customs tax, sales tax, car tax, gasoline tax, this tax, that tax. It's not going to be there. You're not going to have a draft. You'll have offerings and temple tax, but very minuscule compared to what the nations of the world charge. It'd be altogether different. Altogether different. You're not going to have a police department like what we're used to. You're not going to have any of that. I got something on my hand, some sort of, I don't know, skin thing. Please pray for healing in between my fingers. Hashem Yeshua Mashiach. Because where I was wearing my ring, and I think in the hot weather and washing my hands, and the ring was kind of hollow inside, it was getting moisture in there, and now I'm trying to heal it up. So it's a lot of dry, flaky skin. I don't know what it is. Very weird, but it's going away. But please pray for that if you would. Pray for my situation with the landlord and the new neighbor, and pray for me and my wife to be happy, healthy, and whole, and have peace and joy and safety, and pray for our animals and pets to be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for me to understand more fully where we are in the time frame of the fulfillment of these prophecies. I look at it, and I can look at it, stuff's going to happen really fast, and then, stuff could happen in the next few months. I just, I was talking with somebody over email. I said, wow, it looks like it's really happening, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. We've waited so long, it's like really hard to believe it could really be happening, but it looks like it. Remember the key words: suddenly, in a day, in a moment, for the daughter of Babylon. That might be when everything starts happening. I don't know, or Elijah may come before. I don't know what brings Elijah on. We know he shows up in Malachi 3, but what event brings this on? I couldn't tell you. Malachi 3 precedes Malachi 4. We see in Malachi 4 Yeshua appearing in the clouds and the people changing with the everlasting life. So apparently he comes before, as evidenced in Zechariah 12 in verse 6, because they burn up the enemies surrounding Israel in the siege. Is this the siege now? It could be. sieges, you surround and attack. Hezbollah was attacking us. They stopped, but they're still there. Gaza attacks us a little bit, and they're still there and would love to attack us. Syria is sort of talking about attacking us. It could be stupid, but they might do it. Iraq attacking us is basically on hold, but they're there. Jordan has threatened us with war, but hasn't done it in decades. But this Saudi Arabia is not our friend, and then that takes you to Yemen. And then you got Egypt with over 100,000 soldiers on our border. So, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, pray for better videos, and pray for all of us to have faith and joy and peace, shalom. Pray for that. And I'll do number 6. So I think we should be doing things like this now. This is the Kohanim blessing. And I am the Kohanim, and I have the Holy Spirit, and I am in Israel where He accepts you. And 22, maybe. Yeah, number 622. I'll read it and then I'll do it for real. And Jehovah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons. So technically I'm the son of Aaron many generations down the road. Saying, On this wise you shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them. Well, if you're a true believer in Yeshua, you're in Israel. So here we go for real. Jehovah bless thee and keep thee. Jehovah make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Jehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And I put the name Jehovah upon the children of Israel, and Jehovah will bless them. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And it says do all things in the name of Yeshua, so I do it. So where else are you going to find somebody that's a believer, that's a descendant of Aaron, that's in Israel, where God accepts you, that has the Holy Spirit, that will do the Kohanim blessing in the name of Yeshua? But sadly, that goes over the head of many people. And straight and narrow is the way, and few be that find it. So I hope you all go with peace. Now, if any of you have something pop up and you want somebody to agree with, get a hold of me. There's some easy ways to do it. WhatsApp is one of them, and it's free. And there's other ways that we could do it with voice and picture easily and take care of this. And if you need me to, I could probably find a third person to get in on it. So it makes you feel better with 2 or 3 gathered in my name. Now, I like to do this with people I know, and I know many of you, because now there probably are people that have been here for years and I don't know you, but there's a lot of Satan bots that are going to try to get me sucked in. And they lie. Oh, I've been here for all these years, and then I ask them questions, and they don't know what the heck they're talking about. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. They don't know my doctrine. They don't know nothing. So remember, Satan will try to make you think you really did something wrong, so then they can get over on you. Okay? Try to make you think you did something wrong. That's the best way. Now, I don't see the unclean spirits going out and persecuting you just for the faith, because the Lord's liable to step in and take care of that in a way that you're going to greatly enjoy and they won't. So they try to avoid that, but push comes to shove, they'll do whatever they have to if they really get scared enough. But they try to make you think you did something wrong and prosecute you with something wrong, like through a corporation, a lawyer, a collection agency, get somebody to sue you, or get a government to bother you or harass you, or who knows what, anything they can do, They're desperate right now. We keep pounding them. Remember, those bindings and loosings that we put on are done in heaven. They're not expiring every day or two. Yeah, I like to keep doing it because they could put new people in the government, just to get around what we're doing, I bind you unclean spirits from doing anything to keep Netanyahu in office for the next 5 years continuously. You're so bound, B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. And you guys can join in. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, I bind you unclean spirits from doing anything to stop the two witnesses from being the judges of Israel. Any and all such previous actions are null and void, no value, no effect, and you should do nothing beginning now into the future to stop this from happening, where the two witnesses become the judges of Israel, or in the King James, they're called the governors of Israel. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, and you could agree with that. All right, I think we gave them a good dose. And the beauty of this is people come and watch the video after it's a live stream. It becomes a video and they watch it and then they agree with it. Even though it's a video, you can agree with it, and you should. And then the unclean spirits keep getting bombarded 24/7. And it's coming from all over the world. And this is a great use of technology to destroy the works of the devil. And that's what Yeshua came to do, destroy the works of the devil, and that's what we got to do. And this is spreading the gospel, the true gospel. Someone has a question, I will address it. What do you think about the Epstein cover-up and how Congress just voted not to show us? Well, I think it's a cover-up. There's pictures of him with Epstein, and Melania was posing, full nudity in porn magazines before he got in office. So come on, let's put two and two together, Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, they're doing a cover-up. Yeah. You're not going to have a righteous president in any of these nations around the world now, including Israel. It's just not going to happen. Of course, this age is still going on. Satan's the god of this age. So it's his people that are running the countries. That's why we're destroying his countries. Okay, his countries and his media and all this stuff, it's what suppresses the true gospel spreading around the world. So you got to destroy his works. Of course, Jehovah's going to do it for us to a great extent, but I like to do it now as much as we can. Just keep praying for faith and the peace from the Lord. Pray for wisdom, discernment, the gifts of the Spirit. And bring the fight to them. Most believers just sit there and wait for Satan to get around to attacking them, and then think they're being tested by the Lord or something bad happened. All right, kids, so I guess we got enough for one day. Keep the fight going, however little or lot you do. It adds up. You're not the only one doing it. Other people are doing it, and just keep pounding them. Remember, I wish there was 20,000 of us doing this. I wish there was thousands of people teaching the same stuff I am. I wish, because it would all pay off. The unclean spirits would be so messed up they wouldn't be able to bother any of us. So the more of this you do, the harder it is for the unclean spirits to hold on to what they have, and they're going to be losing their grip. And they're not going to have time and patience to deal with you. They're going to not bother with you. So this is how you get them off your back, one way. Take their power away. That's what the binding and the loosing and the agreeing in prayer, all of it, and the agreeing for the binding and the loosing also, is designed to destroy the works of the devil. That's the keys of the kingdom. When his works are destroyed, then righteousness and peace and joy and happiness is going to flow. When he's in control and running the nations and running the corporations and so forth, misery flows. Okay? All right. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out. I hope you got something out of this. Thanks.